So I want to thank those of you that submitted your mock listings. So Warren, I don't know if you saw it. I went through it this morning. I went through Warren's listing. Hope had a PA. Andrea, I sent you an email to resend mine because I wasn't able to download it and look at it.
Okay.
And then who was the other? Marcia sent me one and somebody else. I don't remember who. Anyway, so I'm going to take this opportunity because a couple of you sent me your document via a DocuSign link. I know that it's something that you can do and you're able to do. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like with Andrea's, it didn't work for me. It wouldn't let me download it.
Okay.
This is my firmly held opinion, and I know that it's Matt's as well. Once your clients sign everything on the offer side, right? Especially download everything as a PDF and attach it to a clean email. Don't risk the listing agent needing to jump through hoops to be able to look at your stuff. That makes sense? Okay.
Sharon, did you get mine?
I didn't. I sent you an email this morning.
Because I sent it to you
Apologize.
on Friday.
I know, and you had sent me a text asking for me to look for it. And I got wrapped up in something else and I couldn't find it. So I was looking for it this morning, still couldn't find it. And I just shot you a quick email apologizing for that delay in replying to you. But I did not find it. So again, don't email it to me from DocuSign. Download it as a PDF and send it to me as an email. Then
Okay.
you don't.
Okay.
Then you don't run the risk. Honestly, I didn't even check my spam. Maybe I should look at my spam. Maybe it got dumped somewhere else, but regardless, you don't want that to happen, right? If your client's offer's on the line.
Maybe I sent it to the wrong email. I did Sharon sold mine at KW.com. Yeah.
Not KW. It's at Gmail.
Oh, that's probably why you didn't get it, because I
There you
did
go.
at KW.com.
Mystery solved. Okay. So let me look something up real quick. So today we're going to talk about open houses. We have had limited open house capabilities for a year, really, right? And so it's been tough to really talk about open houses in the way that we would traditionally practice them and go through them. Let me open up the right one. Hold on here. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to share this. All right, so there's something that we call, can you guys see that? It's called 7 levels, right? There's a 7th level open house. Now there's a lot going on when you look at this. So I'm just going to show it to you and then we'll talk it through. Can you see this pyramid thing kind of? Okay.
Yep.
So this is a model so that you can drive as much traffic into your open house. Driving a lot of traffic into your open house accomplishes 2 things. What do you guys think that might be?
Eyeballs on your house.
Yeah.
New clients.
Yes. So either you're going to potentially get an offer on your house, or you're going to get some new clients, some buyers that are just walking through that are unrepresented, right? You want to make the time that you're spending on this worth it for you. So the easiest thing is you just stick a sign in the yard that says, I've got an open house today. That depends on traffic. Is somebody actually going to be driving by your house, right at that time? Maybe. The next thing would be to put a sign in your yard with signs or balloons or, those big, tall, like flag signs that you see now, those banners. something like that, to call attention. So maybe if somebody's driving a block away, they still see it. That's level 2. Level 3. Now you add to that directional signs at all the key corners. Now, I, for some time, have taken a lot of this for granted. And I think it was last year, it might have been the year before, we had a new agent who decided to do an open house for somebody, right, to help drum up some business. And I realized that we failed her in not really talking about this stuff. She didn't think about how to drive traffic, like to even put signs on different corners. She just kind of thought, I'm just going to show up and unlock the door, right? So I really want to talk about this, even if it seems so elementary. So if you've got a house in the neighborhood, you're going to drive around through the neighborhood. You're going to know where the key intersections are, so that somebody that might not be coming to your house, who doesn't know about the open house, will still see it, and you're going to drive them towards your house. So major intersections like mile roads or things like that, but even intersections in the neighborhood itself, you want to drive people directionally to your home. There are people that put 20 signs up. I usually put up 7 or 8, but it depends on where the house is, because maybe you only need 6 or 7. Maybe you need 20. I don't know where it's at. Only you're going to know that. But I have a dozen open house signs that I just keep around for that. And I have them all in my trunk, and I start driving around and I start sticking them in places. That's level 3. So now you're going to get up to a level 4. You are going to put together flyers the week before the open house, right? And you can email the flyer or email invites to everybody that's in your database. Post it on all those websites that if you are not a member of, become members of those websites. Like, what are they even called? Northville, Novi, whatever, real estate. And then there's another one that's Northville, Novi, Plymouth, sell and trade. And, Livonia, sell and trade. And Western Wayne County real estate. I mean, there's a ton of them. There's a lot of them. Join those groups now, so that when you put together a flyer the week before your open house, you just start like posting, just post them and blanket everybody with it. There have also been people that have had a lot of success by posting open houses on the marketplace, on the Facebook marketplace. They pick up buyers that way too. What? And it's free. Oh, free. Anyway, so that's level 4. Level 5. Now you're going to go invite neighbors. Now this says 100 minimum. I can't say ashamedly that I've ever done 100 neighbors, but it's easy. I mean, my neighborhood has 100 if I really wanted to hit it. That's door knocking, right? You're going to go around a few days before or even the day before, and you're going to tell everybody there's an open house this weekend in your neighborhood. This is your opportunity to pick your own neighbor. Do you have friends that have been looking to come around in this area? Other people that you might know of, right? There's a fun little thing that you can do if you choose. Again, this is when open houses are totally back open. I mean, this is just a concept I'm talking about, right? And then you have to get creative, how many people you can allow in the house at a time, and, due to all the COVID restrictions. But right now I'm just speaking in general. You can do something fun for like maybe 45 minutes before your actual open house starts. That's a preview just for the neighbors. Let them feel special. They're curious. Let them come through. They want to see what that house down the street looks like on the inside. Not because they're going to buy it, but you might be able to get a seller out of it. Create a relationship with someone who might want to sell in a year, right? Some people do the little neighbor previews the day before, like they'll do it on a Friday evening. And then it gets all the nosy neighbors out of the way, because there's nothing worse than having a neighbor come into the house, start chatting you up, and then an actual real client is walking through and might have some questions, and you can't get away from the neighbor down the streets that's talking to you about the recycling bins that never get picked up on time or whatever. So if you can kind of flush those guys out separately from when actual real clients are going to come through, that's helpful to you. And it helps you create relationships with potential new sellers, right? So that's level 5. Level 6, get on the phone that morning and remind everyone. Yes, Angela, go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm
did
sorry. I
you
was
have a
putting motion
question?
on. No, I'm sorry. No
Oh.
questions.
Like, hello. Get on the phone and remind everyone. So if you go to our Facebook group, there is the login information to get onto RedX. You can geographically pull up a neighborhood. I know it's not perfect. I know there's going to be phone numbers on there that are on the do not call list, but it's better than nothing. And you can make some phone calls, right? At like 11 o'clock and say, hey, I just want to remind you, we got an open house starting at 1 or whatever time it was at. Then that's the 6th level. If you were going to go to the 7th level, hold 4 other open houses in the area in various price ranges. You could get together with another group of agents, right? And it's almost like an open house extravaganza. Look at all these homes that we're holding open this weekend. It's just about drumming up excitement, right? Or if this one doesn't work for you, maybe you want to go over to that one, right? Start sending people to each other's open houses if they're all kind of in the area, which is fun. It's overwhelming. What do you guys think about it? Did anybody watch the video number 6?
I did. I've got about a half an hour left on it.
Okay. Yeah, I know they're long. And actually we're working on perhaps refilming some tighter versions of that, just to be able to kind of go through it, and then have the other ones with all the back and forth and the give and take of conversation also there, right? So you can, sometimes you have questions that are answered by hearing someone else's question, right? So no questions so far?
I have a question. Actually, I have 2 questions.
Okay.
Have you heard anything about when we're going to be able to do open houses again? Has anybody heard?
Well, we can do open houses, but is Emily still on?
Yes.
Did you do the open house with Kelly?
I didn't, because we got an offer that we
Oh,
accepted.
well.
Yeah, it was good. But
So I'll let Emily speak to this, but so right now we can still do open houses, but you can only have, is it 4 people and only from 2 households? How does that?
right, yeah, it's 4 people, I guess supposedly from 2 different households, but at the same time. So basically what this does is you're going to have a line of people.
Do you count as a household? Does the agent count as a household?
Well, yeah, so I think it's supposed to be like just a family and then
Right.
you,
The
you know,
agent,
so
right.
like if obviously maybe they're saying like if it's a buyer and his wife and then maybe the mom or the dad want to
Mhm.
come or something. So I think that's kind of where they're limiting it. But
Okay.
so yeah, so basically what this does is it's going to create a backup of people standing outside. So what I always like to do in general is I always like to bring either another agent or my loan officer, or my husband's a home inspector, so I like him too, but I like to bring somebody else with me to help me with open houses. So what that does, if that's going to allow me to have somebody else check people in, then while they're in, that's when I can really talk to these people, because I closed, I think 2 last year from open houses. And I think those open houses were probably a year before that even. So, I mean, it works. But then when I have my own spiel that I do when I walk around. So it's actually, this is kind of a better thing for us because this is going to allow you to talk to people more one-on-one than if you have a whole bunch of people in the house at once, then you're kind of not really getting good information from people.
I was muted, sorry. Yeah, so I think it's a double-edged sword, right? So like you said, on the one hand, it forces you to be able to pay attention to somebody, which is important. Because I mean, I've been in open houses. I did one, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago with Pete. He asked for my help. It was in Livonia, perfectly priced ranch, one of those things. We had over 60 groups of people come through. We were calling the front desk down here, asking them to reprint more flyers and sellers disclosures. It was crazy. Thank God there was 2 of us and we still missed people we couldn't talk to, right? It's like we were splitting people up as they could come in. So when things open back up, if you have a property that is well priced, I mean, you're going to know if it's going to be a hot property. Get a partner, come with somebody together, and then you guys can make an agreement before the open house starts as to how you're going to split up the leads, right? It could be every other person. I'm just going to take every other person. And if you convert them, you convert them. And if you don't, you don't. I mean, there's got to be a way to randomly just kind of take care of that, right? Because we do open houses for leads.
Or if you work with another agent, you can say, I'll help you on your open house the next day. And then you help me on this one this day. So, I mean, there's different ways that you can do it.
Yep. You just have to make sure that you're both pleased with whatever that arrangement is, right? And communicate. You've got to communicate. Don't make any assumptions because then somebody's going to get mad. Another way that I've done it before is it's almost like a referral fee, right? Whatever leads we get off of this open house together, I'll give you whatever, 10, 15, 20%, you give me 10, 15, something, whatever creatively you guys feel good about is cool. Just do it. So I don't know when things are going to open back up, to answer your initial question. Where are you guys going to get these open houses? Do you have any ideas?
Well, there's no houses on the market.
Yes, that's true. So my family and I were big movie buffs. And I always say, in order to really enjoy a movie, there's got to be a suspension of belief, right? Or a suspension of disbelief. So let's suspend some reality here for a second. Let's pretend that we have a decent inventory because that is a challenge. You're right. So how do you find a house to hold open? Yes. So Terry just said, ask other agents in the office if you can hold their house open. She's absolutely right. And it doesn't have to be an agent just from Keller Williams. You can ask anybody, right? It'd be nice to do it here in the office so we all help each other, right? That's our culture. But you can ask anybody. And if somebody says yes, that's fine. Then you can do that. So how are you going to find these agents that have listings? If I asked you to sit down today and say, schedule an open house for next weekend, go find one, what would your first step be?
Look on the MLS for new listings from the office first.
Okay. Do you know how to do that?
No, not yet.
Okay. So not yet. I like the way you said that because you're right. Not yet, but you will here in about 3 minutes. So there's also a short video in the coaching YouTube drive that's just called, I think, like finding open houses or something like that. We were sitting here in a meeting and somebody said, I don't know where to find them. And I just jumped right on the computer during the meeting and I made a phone call and I found him one in like 2 minutes. So you're going to go, I'm going to open it up over here. Hold on. Can you guys see my screen? Okay. So if you go here to office roster under search and you look up office name, I'm not sure how we're listed. Hey, Matt, are we Keller Williams Advantage or KW Advantage? Do you know? Yeah. All right. So you're going to look up our office. So I don't know why there's three. One of them, well, we'll look this up. Anyway, you'll notice though that we have two locations, right? We have the one in Novi and then we have the one in downtown Northville. Downtown Northville is our business center, but they are part of us. They're just a little satellite office. Pete's still their broker, right? There's just a handful of agents. I used to be over there before I started coaching and came here. So we're going to pick, I'm just going to pick this one. Here's all of our information. This is just about our office. See up here where it says active listings? Click on that. And now you know that we have 117 active listings in this particular office, right? 250. So this is all of them. So then you have to start to decide, well, which one am I gonna go for, right? What makes an open house? Well, let me ask first. Again, what's the primary objective for you guys right now in your positions to do an open house?
Generate leads.
Correct.
Leads.
Yep. So, in your opinion, based on what you know so far, what type of home will generate the most or best leads for you?
Probably the more expensive ones.
Maybe. I mean, if that's the market you're going for. I would say the newer ones, right? Because they're new, they're still hot. More people are going to want to see it. They're not stale. And the homes are in the best condition, right? Because that's the stuff people want. Of course, also playing into that is their location. Like, where do you want to work? You know, if you don't want to start picking up buyers that are looking at houses in Warren, because then you're going to have more buyers and you're going to have to keep going to Warren, then don't do an open house in Warren, right? Do an open house, but that's up to you. If you're cool going to St. Clair Shores all the time, then do it. Just be aware that wherever you do your open house, whatever buyers are shopping there, if you pick them up as a client, are probably most likely going to still be looking in that area. That makes sense? So,
Can I just ask one thing?
of course.
So because we're limited on the number of people that can be in the household, is it going to make that more difficult to shadow someone's open house? Because I've never done one before and I would like to shadow before I just jump in and do one. But because we're
No.
limited to the amount of people in the house, is that going to affect my shadowing somebody?
Yes, but you know what you could do is you could reach out to a listing agent and say, hey, because of the limitations that we have right now, I'd like to shadow first. And I know that that's difficult, right? Because you can only have so many people in the house. Just explain it and say, how would you be interested if I helped you with your open house and I helped check people in? Like, you could be the person like Emily was talking about, right? The person that's outside checking people in, giving them maybe a quick overview of the house, you know, basic information, chatting them up. You know, right now, that's probably the best that you're going to be able to do. You know, does that make sense?
My other thing, Sharon, that I
Sure,
always
yeah.
kind of like to do is I kind of like to look at the house and where it is relative to like a main road, because some of them, if it's easy to get into it, into the sub, you're going to have a lot more traffic. If it's something
Good.
that's buried pretty deep in a sub, you know, I mean, not that I still wouldn't do that open house, but if there was
No,
two to
it's a great
choose from,
point.
yeah, I'd
Yep.
rather do it a lot easier because then your signage, you know, you're just going to have more traffic with it.
Yeah.
Think of it like setting a trap.
Yes. Matt just said, think of it like you're setting a trap. Like Mr. Hunter, right? Like you're throwing the net out and you want to make sure it's somewhere where they're going to like trip the wire easy. So for instance, what's over here? I mean, this is a condo right off of Haggerty Road. There's probably a lot of traffic there, right? I mean, I just threw this out there, right? Because she just said that. But so you could look at this and say, ooh, 463 days on the market. Eee. I'd want to find out a little bit more about that, right? So I don't know if I would grab that one first, but yeah, listing date since December of 2019, that's a little weird. So let's stay away from that one. So you can go on here. You can sort by days on market, right? Here are all the newest ones. You can sort by city. If you decided that you wanted to stay in Canton or Dearborn Heights, right? Any of that kind of stuff. Here's, you know, a couple in Farmington Hills, you know, whatever you want. Livonia, like, oh, accepting backup offers. So you could, let's say you click on this one, Elmira, Plymouth and Wayne, 250. It's only been on the market for 5 days. And Jody Flavel is the listing agent. So you click on this. There's her phone number, right? 734-323-2200. Call her. Hey, can I hold your house open? Or, hey, only a certain amount of people are allowed at a time. I'd love to pair up with you. I'll be outside. I can give people a summary of the house, check them in while you walk the other people through. I'd love the experience. Right? Anything like that. Any questions?
This is really cool. I didn't even know this was in the MLS, so thank you for sharing.
Oh yeah,
You
for
get to
sure.
that screen.
How do I get to this screen?
Yes.
Hold on. So we went to, let me go back instead of doing that all over again. Well, I'll do it all over again. So you go to search, office roster. You're going to look for Keller Williams Advantage. And then you're going to pick our office, either downtown Northville or the one here in Novi. And then there's a link up here that says active listings. And that gives you all the active listings. 117. Yep.
To take it one more step further, I have saved this as a favorite search on my Real Comp page, so I can automatically just click it. So I think if you go to save at the
Save.
bottom,
Yep.
and then it really gives you the
Save
opportunity to, all right, so it'll say, yep, save new search. And then once you click on that, it gives you, if you check that, yes, enable it on
Yep.
your home screen. So it's always
Yep.
there. And you can hit update and it'll automatically update them if you want to, you know, get to it quickly.
There you go. Watch. Good tip. So now
Thanks.
if I go to home, there it is. These are all the KW Advantage listings. I don't have to keep going back and searching. Now it's always there, right? I could also I'm just going backwards. I could do Northville. 6 active listings at the business center. Yikes. But I'm going to go right here, save, new save search. KW Advantage Northville. Enable it on my front thing. Now you're only allowed, see where it says 20 maximum. Once you have too many saved, it'll kick you out. It won't let you do it. You just have to go delete some old ones. So here you go. Acorn Trail, that's over by CC. What is it? What's the name of the neighborhood? I can't believe I just forgot the name of the neighborhood. Thank you. So anyway, so this is how you find it, and this is how you start looking for people, right? That makes sense, guys? You think you can do that?
Yes.
Okay. Good. So how is let me go back and look at this. How's everybody doing with putting contacts in command? Do you guys know how many you have?
I have 115 so far.
Nice, good job. Have you contacted them all as you're putting them in?
Not as I'm putting them in. I'm putting them in and then I'm going back. So,
Okay.
and I haven't been really expeditious with that because these are people that I know. So my conversations have gotten kind of long. So I'm trying to figure out how to, like the conversation we had last week about balancing that and still take care of business at the same time. So I'm
Mhm.
only up to like 10 people I've contacted so far, but that's from last week.
Well, it is an art form to be able to jump in there and feel comfortable saying, listen, I've just got a couple minutes. I wanted to call you about business. And that kind of stops, interrupts that pattern. They're like, oh, okay. And then tell them whatever you need to say and say, I'm going to give you a call a little later and then we'll catch up more on everything else. And, you just got to find a way to roll through it or you will be on the phone forever.
Okay. And also too, real quick, Sharon, I want to apologize to you because we were talking, you might not even remember this, but we were talking a couple of weeks ago about a seller that I kind of fumbled the ball on and I didn't go and convert her into a listing. And you kept encouraging me to find somebody to convert her. I didn't get it at the time. That's what you were trying to tell me. It kind of went over my head because I was in my pride. I was like, no, I'm going to do it because I need to do it. And I wasn't catching that. So I caught it now. I got what you're throwing down. It took me a minute, but I got you.
So did you do it?
I didn't know if I still could because I haven't contacted her in quite a while because she was real, since I didn't jump on it when I was supposed to, she kind of was like kind of standoffish to me. So I didn't know if I should just give somebody her name and number or so.
Reach out to her. Why not?
Okay.
Knowing now that you've got another tool in your pocket, reach
Yeah.
out to her. Offer just to help her.
Okay. Okay. I will.
So, all right. If you go into the coaching drive, there is a folder called scripts, right? Scripts and objection handling. There are open house scripts in here. So this, let me see, sphere. Yeah, this is a book from Ignite, which is a full training program that Keller Williams has. And so this is 64 pages. And if you come through here, it's all sorts of stuff that you may come across that you don't know what to say. And read these, right? Because they can help you out. Where's the open house ones? Hold on. I know they're in here. Somewhere. Hold on, maybe, oops. Maybe open house resources, right? Open house resources. So this is that graphic again that we looked at. Here is a PDF of what you might want to use or replicate, change it a little bit if you want. Because you're trying to get leads on these open houses, you want to try as best as you can to get their information. A lot of people aren't going to want to give you stuff, but don't let that limit you. Don't let that make you not ask. You want as much contact information as you can get from them, but if you can just at least get a name and either a phone number or an email address, I mean, both would be great. Because then you can reach out to them and you can keep talking to them. You want to know if they're looking to buy, do they need to sell something? You know, what is their timeline? So you can kind of get an idea of their motivation. Have they talked to a lender before? You know, how did they learn about the open house? That's just for your benefit. And are you currently under contract with another realtor? Because if they are, they're off limits, right? They're just kind of wandering around on their own because they don't want to bother their agent, but they're not for you to take. Some people will look at you and say, yeah, we have an agent. You should ask them, really? That's great. What's their name? And if they hesitate and they, oh, I don't remember, chances are they haven't actually signed anything and they're not under contract. So if you can get their information, you can still call them and talk to them and possibly convert them. But make sure, right? Because ethically, you can't go after somebody who's already signed with someone else. A lot of times they'll just tell you they've got another agent because they don't want you bugging them. But don't let that stop you. Don't, right? You can still provide value.
Another little trick that I do,
Oh.
Sharon, real quick,
Yep.
is I have my own form that I've made, but it's very similar to this. It has most of this information, but I have 3 slots on a page. I will like even pre-fill out the top one with like a fake name or something. And I feel like
Yes.
that does prompt other people. If they see somebody else has entered in
Yes.
all that information, a lot of times they'll fill in everything for you.
It's like the tip jar, right? You want to like feed it with something so people think that they should be throwing some money in there. Something that I started doing that I found helpful. Actually, I have them over there. I'm not going to run over there though. I bought these little plastic clipboards. They're like 6x9. And I print out these sheets and I cut them up and I put one on each clipboard and I'll have like 3 or 4 on the table at a time. And one of them's filled out, right? So people can see that. And I have questions on there, the standard ones. Are you working with an agent? What's your contact information? You know, whatever. But then it'll say, what is your favorite thing about this home? What is your least favorite? Or something like that. And I'll hand that with a pen to the people that come in so they don't feel pressured to fill it out right in front of me. And I'll say, this is information I'm collecting for the sellers. It really helps to get feedback. If you could fill this out, let us know what you like or don't like about the home. Then I can talk to the sellers and the homeowners, right, about what everybody thought when they were coming through today, and just like that. And I tend to get less resistance. I still sometimes find somebody that just doesn't want to fill it out, or they just put their first name and they don't fill out the email address. You know, you can't force someone to let you contact them, but you can do your best to let them feel like you can provide some value, or you're not pressuring them, or you're not, you know, it's something that you're just kind of work through and you're going to figure out, you know, what works best. Let's see, what else do we have here? This is a document from a while ago, open house training. This is all the stuff we were talking about earlier, right? This is the first thing Emily said, the more visible the home, the better, right? Depending on where it is, where it's located in a neighborhood, not tucked too far away, right? Is it staged and priced well? Meaning condition. If it's way overpriced, it's probably not a good idea. Is it newly listed? Those are the ones that are going to get the most activity, right? If it's been on the market for a while, it's going to be stale. So let's go to the marketing. If you want to do an open house over the weekend, you should have that address secured with a commitment from the listing agent, if it's not your own listing, by Monday or Tuesday, right? By Tuesday at the latest. Although Zillow isn't our preferred vendor or source of information, a lot of people go to them, and they have a service that if you sign up, they will blast out a bulletin of all the open houses that are coming out, I think like on a Friday or something, maybe even a Thursday. they'll blast it out. The open house must be marked as being held open in the MLS by Wednesday afternoon for the feed to hit Zillow so that Zillow picks it up and puts it on that bulletin. So if you went to me or Emily or Matt or somebody and said, hey, I want to hold your house open, you want to make sure that I'm going into the MLS and I'm marking it as being open by Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. That way you're using the power of Zillow, you know, and their exposure so that more people know that that open house is going to be happening, right? So that's the first thing as far as your timeline. So secure a house by Monday or Tuesday. Make sure that the agent has gotten it marked in the MLS by Wednesday morning. And then you can go into designs, you create a flyer, you create JPEGs, start putting it out on all the social media, you know, like we were talking about earlier. Email everybody in your database, post it everywhere. Facebook Marketplace, the 7 levels, right? You start circle prospecting with red X, door knocking, calling. This right here is a link to a role play for circle house prospecting. I encourage you to go in here. It's under the open house folder that's in the coaching drive. Listen to it. Get a good idea of what that would sound like, right? Leave flyers with anybody you talk in person. Drop flyers off. Arrive early at the open house. Don't go blowing in, unlocking the door a minute before it's supposed to start. Because you're probably in this market going to have people already parked outside waiting. That's unnerving. If you're coming in late, you're fumbling, you're trying to unlock the door, you got to run in, turn all the lights on, open the blinds, make the place look nice, and you got people sitting outside. That is not the energy that you want to start an open house with. So get there early, prep the house, make sure everything looks nice, right? Take some videos and pictures outside before it even starts. Go on Facebook Live, talk about it. Hey, I've got this great open house in this place, do a little tour of the house. It shows that you're in production. It shows that you're doing business. Anybody that is connected with you on those social media platforms will be like, oh, look, she's working. She's successful. It's all about perception. Perception is reality. So then there's role playing, right? When somebody comes in, whether you have a ton of people coming in later when things open up, or if you're restricted to only one group coming through at a time. What brings you here today? How did you hear about it? Right? Where do you live now? Are you in the market for a new home? What are you searching for? Develop rapport. It's just like a buyer's consultation. It's the same thing, but you're having it inside somebody's house. Get to know them. Do they have kids? How old are they? Are the schools important to them? Do they want the kids to be able to ride around in the street, or do they really want sidewalks because somebody wants to walk the dog, or like all sorts of questions. Ask, right? What features of the house jump out to you? You know, is there anything you would change? What do you like? What do you not like? Just ask away, right? I mean, obviously don't totally bug the hell out of them if they're telling you to leave them alone. I mean, you may want to step back and say, take a look around for a little bit. Let me know if you have any questions, and then kind of linger around in the sides and kind of listen, right? Answer a question here or there that you kind of hear. It's a feeling. You're going to feel who you can stick with and talk with more and who wants their space. And you have to respect that, right? Get to know the neighborhood that you're doing the open house in, that price point and that type of house. Because if there's another house for sale like 4 blocks away that's the same or ish comparable, wouldn't it be cool for you to talk to the person and say, well, you know what? There's another home very similar to this that you might like. I'm wrapping this up at 3 o'clock. I can check. And if there's an opening, I'm happy to meet you there. Would you like me to schedule another showing? Go take them to another house. Right? Why not? You're already out. They're looking. How cool would that be? After the open house, just like with Facebook leads, the goal is always follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up. Get that list, all those papers, all those contacts that you made. Send them a thank you for coming to the open house. Ask them if they have any questions. You can write them handwritten cards thanking them for coming to the open house as well, right? Put them on some kind of a smart plan for the neighborhood that that open house was in or around it, because you know that they're interested in looking there. Perhaps in conversations with them, you have a better idea of what they're looking for, and you can do a smart plan that's somewhere else. But keep in touch with them. Yeah, open houses are very cost effective if you get good at converting people. For sure. Because these people are already in the market. You just have to get them to trust you.
Sharon,
Yes, ma'am.
how do you post an open house on the MLS?
If you have a listing, I don't have one right now, but if you have a listing, you go and you edit it, the listing agent. You don't do it, the listing agent does it. They go in, they hit edit, and there's a little spot where you can put in the date for open houses.
Okay.
Right? Any other questions?
As far as putting signs in the yard, I don't know if I probably asked you this the first time around, but do you get a lot of like kickback from people? Like, you know, putting signs in their yard, and it's kind of like
Matt
private
had a
property.
story a couple years ago. Do you remember in Novi? When that lady came and popped all your balloons?
Oh, yeah.
He was having an open house and he put signs with balloons up, and some lady from the neighborhood or the area
Not allowed to go back.
was like, "You're not allowed to put these in Novi," and she showed up at the door with a sign and the balloons were popped. You know what? Ask for forgiveness. There are cities that don't want you putting things up, and if the citizen police are out, you know, there's people that have lost open house signs because they get taken down. It happens. More likely in certain condominium complexes, maybe. I've never had an issue personally. Have you, Emily?
No.
No. I wouldn't overthink that. I wouldn't get too worried about it. If they take your sign, oops, you know, but I think you'll be all right.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have been, some odd reason I can't get onto my command. I've been emailing back and forth for the last week. And
Scott Leroy.
no, with some type of command
Support somebody.
support. Yes.
Try, well, I'm not gonna be able to solve your issue, right? But
Yeah.
try to reach out to the support at Scott Leroy Marketing. I think they
Okay.
could probably help you.
Okay. Thanks. Thank you. I
Okay.
started to call you last night about it because I do have like 10 people that I reached out to, and I'm having them on paper now. So I look
Nice.
all over the place.
Good. All right, so we have to wrap this up, but here's the big thing for next Monday. For those of you who have been through launch from session 1, right? Because those of you who have jumped in the middle are gonna have to start and come through starting at the beginning again. But if you started from the beginning, you should have in the first session or the second, you should have filled out a form that was called the allocation of funds, and that was your budget. It was your personal budget, right? Like, how much money do you need to survive? How much money do you want, right? On top of that. Make sure that's filled out. And there's not a video for 7 and 8, but what we're gonna do next week is we are going to develop your goals. Your goals in terms of how many transactions do you need to get where you want to be? And how are you going to get those? How many appointments do you need to have those transactions? How many phone calls do you need to make to get those transactions? Nitty-gritty numbers so that you can start to hold yourself accountable to those activities. Make sense? Yes? Okay, so for next Monday, make sure you have your allocation done. And actually, we're gonna send out an email with an MREA worksheet for you guys to start to mess around with on your own. And then we'll go over all those on Monday. And we'll go over a GPS, which is the grand plan. That's not what GPS stands for. It stands for goals, priorities, and strategies. But GP, grand plan, I like it. Okay, so people who are,
Okey-dokey.
some people jumped in early. I could like Taylor. Hi, Taylor. I miss you. Are here
Hey.
early for accountability. You can stay on, but if not, you can jump off. Don't feel like you have to stay on. I am gonna get on. I'm gonna get off for a minute.
Sharon, real quick, I'm sorry. Do you want the
Yep.
allocation of funds done by Monday or the GPS? Or the
Well,
MREA?
we're gonna do all of it. So,
Oh,
but
okay.
if you haven't done your allocation of funds, you have nowhere to start.
Yeah, I did.
You have to at least do that. And if you have it all done, then bring that too, and we'll just go over it.
Okay.
Okay?
And I'll resend my stuff to you, to the
Perfect.
correct email.
Yep. If anybody still has not done a mock offer or a mock listing, please send it. And I'm gonna be out of town Thursday and Friday, FYI.
I have just a quick question. I sent it a long time ago and
Yeah.
I
I
don't,
returned it to you, didn't I?
I didn't get your corrections on it. That was like the first time I ever did it.
Okay,
So I don't know if you still have it, and if not, I could maybe resend it,
resend it.
just resend it. I
Resend
did it the
'cause
old-fashioned way. This was like many, many weeks ago.
No, I remember.
Listing.
I refound my software that I use to mark things up. So resend it and I'll mark it up again if we can't find it.
All right.
Okay.
So, mhm.
Okay, so, all right, I'm gonna take a break. I'll be back in a minute and then regular accountability will start here shortly.